How to purchase your multifamily. So a lot of people make excuses. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'm doing this early because I'm going to be traveling later on today. So I want to get this out the way for you guys so you guys can know how to purchase your multifamily. There should be no more excuses why you don't own your own property and why you don't have income coming in. Okay. Um, like I said, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays to everybody. You guys might want to take notes on this one because if you go back and look at this video, it's going to give you step by step a full course on how to purchase your multifamily property. Okay. And I would advise to go to the outskirts of big cities like New York City. So if you're in New York City, go maybe north, upstate, where the prices are a little bit more reasonable, and you can actually do a FHA loan. It's an easier deal. If you're in parts of California like LA, go on the outskirts. If you're in Atlanta, go on the outskirts. Okay. This is your best bet for investing in multifamily for cash flow, which means money coming into your pocket every month, and appreciation, where over time your property increases in value. Okay. So the first thing we want to do when it comes to purchasing your multifamily, and this is a full course, so this might go on for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. But the first thing you want to do is you want to um, check your credit score, guys. Um, I always teach to get an FHA loan, and they say you need a 580 or better. When we first purchased our multifamily, my credit score was in maybe like the mid 600s or low 600s. But you need at least a 580 credit score in order to purchase a multifamily. Okay. So the first thing is your credit score. It needs to be a 580 or above. Okay. And this is easy, guys. So if you're saying your credit is not good and that's the reason why you can't purchase a multifamily property, a 580 credit score is like a D. Like if you rank it from, A to D to F failing, a 580 credit score is a D. That's all you need to purchase a multifamily. So there should be no excuse, guys. And if your credit score is lower than a 580, it's very easy to increase your credit score. So you can do a authorized user. Okay, so you become an authorized user for someone else's credit card, maybe a family, a friend, your parents, your I'm not going to say your kids, but your cousins, whoever. Say they have a 5K credit card on one of their credit cards, right? When you become an authorized user, you get this credit here, this 5K credit, and that boosts your score up very easily. Also, number two, you can get a Chime account. Get a Chime account. Get the credit builder Chime account. Start putting 500, $500, $1,000, $2,000 into that account. That'll boost your credit score up. And also you can use that money as the down payment for your new multifamily property. Okay. Those are two easy ways to get your credit score up. The third way is a little bit harder, but you should do it anyways just to have a good credit score. The third way is to pay your debts, pay off debt. If you have if you have a car note and it's a car note and you really don't need that car, you can get a more reliable car at a less price. Just sell a car, okay? Sell a car or just continue to make payments on that car note efficiently so that your credit score can be boosted, okay? Another way to pay off debt is just call your creditors. Call um, whoever you owe. Call them and make payment arrangements with them or settle for less. And once you do that and you pay off your debt, your score will increase, okay? Make sure that you're making on-time payments, okay? That's 3 ways that you can increase your credit score if it's not at a 580, which is not that high, okay? Um, of course, the higher you get with your credit score, the more, the better chances you have of getting a lower interest rate for your property, okay? So I would say, the normal, regular person, if they wanted to get the best interest rate, get in the 700s if you're not in the 700s already. That'll give you the best chances of getting a low, interest rate, to get your multifamily property. Okay. The second thing you have to do is you have to get a pre-approval. Get a pre-approval for the property that you're going to buy, right? Um, how are you gonna know how much you can spend on a property if you don't get a pre-approval? So you get the pre-approval by going to a local bank or going to a community bank. I say those are the best banks to go to because they're gonna give you the best rates, and they may pre-approve you for a little bit more. A lot of it is based off of relationships. So if you have that bank account with that bank, go to that bank and ask them for a loan, okay? You want to get a pre-approval for an FHA loan. It's called a FHA loan, guys. You get a pre-approval for that and you put down 3.5% on your property. And guys, I'm not teaching you guys from something that I didn't do. This is what my wife and I did. This is how we scaled up in multifamily investing. And I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but this is how we did it. This is how we started. If I can do it, you guys can do it too. It's not hard to do. The process takes maybe 2 to 3 months to purchase your first multifamily. So that's not a lot of time. As long as you have these points straight, as long as you have a good credit score, you have a down payment, you have a real estate agent, and we're going to get into that. As long as you have a lawyer, a title company, and you find the right property, you find a good property, you can do this, guys. Anybody can do this. Trust me. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay. So you go and you get a pre approval from your bank. Say they give you a pre approval for 200, say 300,000. Say they give you a pre approval for 300,000, right? For 300K. That means with an FHA loan, guys, all you have to come to the table with is 3.5% of this 30, 15, maybe around 12K. You come to the table with 12K for closing. So if you come to the table with 12K for closing, you can own a $300,000 property. A lot of people think that you need a lot of money to start investing. But if you came to the table with 12K, you can own, say, a duplex, which is a two-family house or a triplex or a quadplex from 2 to 4 units. You can own this. And I would say the best places to do this is like in Philly, upstate New York. Um, you can even go to the South, North Carolina, like out on the outskirts. You can get this, guys. This is very doable. Our first property, we paid 165K for upstate New York. People think you need millions of dollars to invest in New York. No, you don't. We paid. We went to the table with I think it was like 5 or 6K. Okay, and we got our first duplex. So guys, this is not rocket science. This is simple math. If you can get 3.5% down, if you can get 12K, and what is 12K? 12K is saving $1,000 a month for a year, right? Or borrowing money from your parents, borrowing money from family and friends. And when you get your duplex or your triplex, every month you got $1,000 coming in. So you can pay this off easy. And you're living for free in one of the units, guys. So this is important, okay? Get your pre-approval so that you can know how much you can spend on a property, okay? So that's step number 2. Step number 3, guys, is analyzing your property. Analyzing the property that you want to get, okay? So like I said before, say your property is 300,000, 300K, right? And you have, say, a triplex, okay? And in your triplex, you have 3 units. Each unit may be paying you, let's say, 1,600, 1,600. And the third unit you may be living in, you're living in that unit, right? So that's $3,200. That's $3,200 per month, okay? I usually say for every 100K, you're going to be paying probably around 900 to 1,000, depending on the interest rate. You're going to be paying 900 to $1,000 per month in mortgage and insurance and taxes and your whole payment, your whole mortgage payment is going to be probably 1,000 per every 100K. So say your mortgage is maybe 3K, right? Your mortgage is 3K. So if you analyze a property and you see that the property is 300K and your mortgage is 3K, including insurance, your taxes, your principal payment, and maybe your PMI, right? Um, because you have an FHA loan, this covers this 3,200 right here. This covers your mortgage. And this is how a lot of people start, guys. This is how the multimillionaires in real estate, this is how they start. They start with an FHA loan. They go to get a duplex or triplex. They figure out the game, and then they start to scale up. They'll buy their first property, and then a year or two later, they'll move into another property, or a year or two later, they'll find another creative way to purchase another property, and they keep repeating the same thing. And then they scale up to bigger properties, to six units, to 10 units, to 20 units, and they're doing the same thing. They're doing the same math, except it's scaled up. So this is how you start, guys. Get yourself a 300K property, even maybe in Long Island. You can get this maybe in Long Island. You can get this a lot of places in the United States, and use a FHA loan, guys. Don't go out there. Don't go out there getting a 20% down on a property and you don't know what you're doing when it comes to real estate, because you're gonna get burned. So you're gonna put in 20% into a property. You don't know how to manage property. You don't know how to do anything with property. Start with low risk first. FHA loan, 3.5% down, a government backed loan. Okay. Start with that. Start with a little bit of down payment. Like I said, 12K, 15K, 17K, and get yourself into a multifamily property. You got to learn how to analyze a deal. This is one of the most important parts of the process, is analyzing a deal. Okay. Analyze a deal. Maybe look at maybe 50 or 100 properties. Make sure that the income from the rentals are paying off your mortgage or more. See, you have $200 here extra in cash flow. What can you do with an extra $200, right? and you didn't put down that much money on a house, right? So you're getting cash flow, you're getting $200 per month, you're living for free right here, and your tenants are paying for your mortgage, which is 3K. Okay. So this is how you get started. And, and then you didn't even count the amount of money that you're bringing in with your own job, right? Say you're making $2,000 a month. That's $200 right in your pocket. That's also cash flow. Okay. So this is how you that's how you analyze a deal. Make sure for every 100K, it's about $1,000 in mortgage, and make sure that your tenants, whichever house that you are trying to get into, make sure that your tenants are covering that mortgage, so you don't have to bring money out of pocket. If it's flip flop and say the house is 300K and say the rents are $1,000 and um you're only making $2,000 and you have to input another $1,200, that's not a good deal. You didn't analyze the property correctly. Okay, so make sure you guys are analyzing this correctly so that you can get into a property, you can cash flow, and then you can put money in your pocket from your job. You don't have to keep renting. You don't like, and this is simple, guys. This is a simple process. This takes 2 to 3 months to do this. If you have 12 to 15K saved up and it's sitting there, or even if it's in your 401K, guys, use that to your advantage. A 401K is good, but rental property and diversifying is even better. So you have a 401K, you have some savings, you have real estate, you have cash flow coming in. You got to diversify. When you diversify, you can withstand, famines and different things like that. So this is an easy way. This is one of the easiest ways to get into real estate. One of the easiest ways. And I don't know why more people don't do it, but it's an easy way to get into real estate and start putting money in your pocket. Okay. So that's on analyzing the deal. Make sure you're analyzing the deal correctly so that you don't have to take money out of your pocket to pay for anything. Money should always be flowing into your pocket when you're investing in real estate. If it's not, you're in the wrong area, okay? The next step is to find a real estate agent. Find a real estate agent. Find a good one. I usually go for the real estate agents that have a lot of connections and that are really they're hungry. They want to go out and they want to sell houses. They want to be on the buyer side to represent you. Okay. And then they may have investment properties themselves. If they have investment properties themselves, they are an asset for you because they can tell you uh, which house is good, which house is not. They can also help you to analyze a deal. And your real estate agent is really your plug, guys. The real estate agent is the plug. The real estate agent has connections to every piece that you need to move to closing, okay? So the real estate agent right here, the real estate agent, she or he has connections to your lawyer that you need, have connection to title companies, they have connection to inspectors because they're in the game for a long time, so they know all these people. Inspectors, um, the bank is gonna do the appraisal, so you don't have to worry about that. But these are the main things. The real estate agent has connection to your lawyer, your title company, and your inspector. The real estate agent is usually gonna get about 2.5% of the deal or 3% of the deal. Okay. So $300,000, they're going to get 2.5 out of that. But you don't have to worry about that because all of it is in escrow and most of the money is coming from the bank. That 300, most majority of the 300K is coming from the bank. So the bank is really paying the real estate agent. they're working for a commission, but the bank is paying them, not you. You're not coming out of your pocket and paying for any of these things. Okay? Or maybe you may have to pay for the inspection, and the inspection is maybe like 500 to 750. So make sure that you have that in your you account for that. You account for the inspection for your property, okay? Um, but the real estate agent is the plug. The real estate agent is going to get you the lawyer, the title, the inspection company that you need, anything that you need when it comes to the process. Go to your agent. Your agent's going to be the number one person to go to. Okay, so they really have, and they also do the paperwork, the documents for the paperwork. So, um, like writing it up, writing the proposal, writing how much you're going to be paying for the property. And don't be afraid. It's a lot. It's a lot of paperwork, but don't be afraid of the paperwork. Just read thoroughly through it, sign the documents, and send it back to the agent, and then the property will go pending. Okay, make sure that you have that 3.5% down for that property. That's important, and don't use that money if you say you have 3.5% down, you're doing 3.5% down and it's in an account, make sure it's sitting for at least 3 months and don't touch it because you're going to need that money for closing. And if the bank sees that you're touching it or anything is happening with that money, they may refuse you at the end. Okay. So make sure that that money is staying in that account and it's not being touched. Okay. Let's talk about a little bit of the title company. Okay, so the title company gets paid by the bank. You don't have to come out of your pocket for that, right? The title company um, usually gets referred by the real estate agent. The title company, their job is to search, like a background search of the property to make sure that it has a clean title, to make sure that there's no liens on the property, to make sure that there's nothing wrong, there's no funny business going on with the person that's selling the property. They're usually going to charge maybe 750 to $1,000 to do your title. And then you may want to purchase a title warranty, or you may not have to, but make sure that the title is clean. Make sure that there's no liens on the property. And if they are, make sure that they're getting paid by closing. Okay. So that's a title company. It's pretty straightforward. You don't really have to worry about that. Um, and the title company is pretty simple. They do what they have to do. It's just a piece to the puzzle of going to closing. Okay. The next one is the lawyer. The lawyer is responsible for all of the documents. So when you sitting at that closing table, make sure if you don't understand something, ask your lawyer because the lawyer will break it down in layman's terms so you can understand what's going on in that paperwork. Because the worst thing to do is to just be signing documents and you don't understand. You're not reading any of the fine print or the what's going on in that paperwork, and then you maybe be getting screwed. So make sure the lawyer looks over it. And if you don't understand something, ask him. Don't be afraid to ask the lawyer. That's what he's there for. He's there for you to ask questions about your deal. He's there for you to ask questions about the paperwork that you might not understand. And I think in some states you have to have a lawyer. I think in New York you have to have a lawyer. But like in North Carolina, I'm not sure if you have to have a lawyer, okay? So it's just different when it comes to different states. They usually charge for a duplex. They same thing. They charge maybe 750 to $1,000 now to just do your paperwork. And another thing, this is what I found out with one of the properties. One lawyer mentioned this to me. He said, "Leon, what about the the security deposits that you're supposed to be getting?" So if they're reading the documents carefully, they understand that you have to be getting security deposits for every one of those rentals. So say you have a triplex, right? You have a triplex, and say, like we said, it's $1,600 each. 1,600, and you may be living in that one, or at the time somebody may be paying 1,600. This is money that is supposed to be going back to you at the end, at closing time, okay? When you buy a property, make sure that you're getting your security deposits from the seller, okay? Because when those renters move out, you have to give them back their security deposit. So this should be a check to you at the closing table. What, 15, 30, 15, 30, 45, $4,800 here. That should be going in your pocket. And that could be part of the down payment that you paid. Or if you borrow money from somebody, you can maybe use some of this to pay them back and then put it back in. Okay. So make sure you're getting this at closing time. That's one of the perks of buying multifamily is, say you have 6 units or 8 units. All of the security deposits are going into your bank account. They should be cutting you a check at the closing table. Okay. And another thing too is the best time to go to closing is the first of the month. You know why? Because some banks, they give you a month gap in between uh your first mortgage payment. So if they give you a month gap, that means that on the first of the month, not only are you getting those deposits for $4,800 or whatever it is, how many units you purchase, but you're also getting the first month's rent. So that's double. So you're getting almost 10K. You're getting almost you're getting $9,600 right there as soon as you purchase the property. And if you put, like, say you put down 12K, look, you already made your money back on that purchase by buying a duplex or a triplex. So this is the power of multifamily, getting into multifamily started. You're living for free. You have income coming in as soon as you purchase the property. You have income coming in every single month, and you have equity or appreciation every year. That property more than likely is going to be going up in value. So that's how you scale up. You use all of that equity that you have and you reinvest it back into another property, which we'll get into later on. Okay. But all I have to say is the lawyer will go over all of the documents. The lawyer will point out to some things to you that maybe you didn't see or you didn't realize. Okay. Make sure that if you have any questions with the lawyer, make sure you ask him, because he's a go-to also for documents. Okay. So we went title, we went lawyer, the inspector. Let's go over inspection. The inspection process, guys. The inspector usually charges for a duplex, $700. They do a thorough inspection of your property that you want to purchase. Okay. So that means if the inspector is doing 30 minutes of an inspection and running through your house and not really documenting or taking pictures, they're not doing a good job. Okay. So make sure that the inspector that the real estate agent sends you or gives you, make sure that you look up their company and make sure that they have 4 or 5 stars, so that he's a good reputable person, and he will do a thorough inspection. A thorough inspection may take maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours or 2.5 hours, because they're gonna look at the roof. Some inspectors have drones where they look at the roof, or they actually go up to the attic, or they take pictures up there to see the quality of your roof. They're gonna go over all of the electric throughout the building. They're gonna tell you in the I'm not gonna say pro forma, but in the inspection, when you get it back, they're gonna tell you whether you need to update electric, how old your roof is, if they have any like termites or anything, you have to pay extra for that. They're gonna look at all of the maintenance, all of the main systems in the building. They're gonna tell you how old they are, if they maybe need to be replaced soon. So the inspection is very important. They're also gonna tell you, they're gonna give you like, uh, they're gonna give you kind of like a feel for if it should be a good property to buy or not. Make sure you're listening to your inspector, guys, because a lot of people, they get into real estate and they're so excited, they're ready to go, but they don't realize that the inspection is an important part. And if you walk in a building and your floors are like, kind of slanted, that means your foundation is not good. If you go down to your basement and your inspector notes that there's cracks in the foundation and your walls are not good in your basement, that means you have a bad foundation. That means sooner or later you're going to be paying a lot of money to get that fixed. Okay, say you go into the basement, and the floor is like is wet. It's wet all around. That means you have a water problem. Water is penetrating and getting into that foundation in that basement. Okay, say you have furnaces and you have a really really old furnace. Um, Chances are you're gonna have to replace that if you're gonna be holding this property for a long time. You're gonna have to replace that. That's gonna cost $5,000-$6,000 to replace. Okay, so make sure you're looking at that inspection report and make sure that you hire a good inspector. This is one of the most important parts of purchasing a multifamily and doing your due diligence, because with this inspection, you can go back to the seller and you can say, hey, look, this furnace is about to go out. Or look, this roof has a hole in it. Or we're getting leaks into the second floor apartment. So you guys have to give me a credit. Okay. So make sure you're doing this inspection, because this is your way of lowering the price for that property that you're purchasing. Say you're purchasing it for 300K. If your roof is messed up, you need a new roof, or you need to get that patched up or fixed. So that's going to cost you money. So you go back to the seller and you say, hey, listen, seller, there's a leak in here and we need to get this fixed. Okay. I hope you guys are taking notes, because if you go back and you look at this video and you just go, step by step, and you're taking notes and you apply this, you're going to be good when it comes to purchasing your first multifamily. Okay. So that inspection is important. Get that inspection report back. See what you can do about reducing the price of that property. Okay. So that's for the inspection. Now, appraisers. Hope I'm spelling it right. Appraisers, right? That's the next step, is the appraiser. The bank, they're very strict when it comes to FHA. They want to make sure that the property is worth you buying, because if it's a wreck and it's not a good property, they're not going to lend you the money. Because think about it, if someone's lending you about 96.5% of their money to you, they want to make sure that that asset is worth buying, or that it's going to produce income. Okay. They always want to make sure that it appraises for about the amount that the seller is selling for, or more. Okay. And usually it comes back good. But if that house is like a gut renovation, or it's barely able to function, people are not living there, or it's a rehab property, the FHA loan is not going to work for you guys. So they're very strict. I remember one time we were trying to purchase one property, and they said that the side of the house needed a railing. So I went myself and I put the railing on the property just so that we can pass to pass the appraisal stage for the FHA loan. Okay, so the bank is going to want to see that you have um, you have people that are living in that property already, that property is functioning, and that it appraises for 300K, in this case 300K or more. If it's not doing these things, the bank is going to back off and say, no, we're not going to invest. We're not going to put our money into it. So, and I agree with them. If you're only putting down 3.5%, that's nothing. They're pretty much taking the whole. They're going to get burnt if anything happens, right? The bank will get burnt, not you, because you're only putting in 3.5. So I agree with them. Like, make sure that you know, when you looking for a house, it's not like a full gut rehab or needs a lot of work because the bank is not going to accept that. Okay, the appraisal report will come back to you, and then what they do is they look at different houses in the area that you're investing in, and they make sure that houses that are the same square footage, um, that are in the same vicinity, the same area, they make sure that they sold or they're selling for that same price. So if another house is selling for 325K or sold for 325K and another house sold for 275, they're going to say that, yeah, your house is worth 300 because all of these are, say, 2,500 square feet, 2,500 square feet. Same thing over here, 2,500 square feet. They're gonna say, okay, yeah, the value is there, so we will give you that 96.5%. Okay, so make sure you go into a good area. Make sure you do your comparisons, to make sure that this works. Because if it doesn't work and the appraisal comes back low, you have to go back to the seller and tell them, hey, my appraisal came back lower than 300K. So we have to figure out how to lower it down to this number that it came back at. Say it came back at 275K instead of 300K. The seller has to make a decision whether they sell at 275K, or you guys have to make a decision on how that's going to work out. Okay. So make sure it's getting appraised right. Make sure that you're doing your due diligence to make sure that this is the right price. And if you did your research, it should be like you're paying 300K for a property. If you did your research, your appraisal should come back at like 325, 350, so that you can have instant equity in that property already. Okay, so that's it for appraisers. Okay, once you've done all of that, um, then the bank once the bank is satisfied that your loan, your money is good in your account, and they're ready to go to closing. They don't have any problems with the appraisal or inspection or anything like that. They're gonna set you up with a closing date. Okay, they're gonna set you up with a closing date, which is probably 2 to 3 months out from when you started the process. And before you go to closing, right? This is another thing. Make sure that you have your property insurance. So you yourself have to call an insurance company, say Geico or whatever insurance, right? And you have to set it up so that it can come out of your mortgage. Okay. The banks are gonna need this. They're gonna tell you, make sure that you set yourself up with insurance. And usually insurance, depending on the area that you're in, it could be, two, three, $400 per month. Um, and it's incorporated with your mortgage. Okay. So you set that up. That's real quick. You call Geico, say, hey, I'm getting ready to purchase this property for, this amount. Um, the closing date is this date. and then they'll set you up with some with insurance, and they'll make it take effect on that day that you close. Okay, so you're not going to be paying for insurance before you close. Once you close, then you'll be paying your insurance within your mortgage. Okay, so make sure you set up your insurance. So that's out the way, and then you set up your closing date, guys. You set up your closing date. And this is the exciting part because, you're getting ready to close, you're getting ready to purchase your first or your next property. You're sitting at the table, you're writing out, you're signing documents. And like I said before, don't be afraid of all the documents that you have to sign. It's probably maybe about, 30 to 60 pages, you may have to sign, depending on what type of, how many documents are in there. But maybe 30 to 60 pages you have to sign. Make sure that you're going over it with your lawyer. Um, Set your closing date up. And once you close, you have the keys to your property. Okay, you can go over there. You can check out your property. Oh, you're gonna do a final walkthrough too. Make sure you do this, guys. Final walkthrough. I got a funny story for this one too. Um, Walkthrough. Final walkthrough. We were we were going to purchase a property, upstate New York, and we were about to go to closing. And the day of closing, we went to do our final walkthrough, and they had a pipe burst in the basement. So the whole basement was wrecked. And I think that was a sign from God, like, this might not be the house that you want to purchase because you're going to have issues with this property. And further down the line, we saw that the people that did purchase that property, they had problems with it. The police were there like every week, things like that. So make sure you're doing your final walkthrough because that can expose anything at the last moment. Something may go wrong, and then that changes the whole deal for you, which it did for us. We saw that um, it messed up the basement, and it was a main pipe burst. So the the porch on the front of the property needed to be replaced, and that cost a lot of money, right? So we just walked away from the deal. The seller was willing to drop the price $20,000 and fix the property, but we said no. It's not worth it for us. And the the rents weren't that stable. The first floor was empty, and the second floor, they were kinda iffy on their rents coming in, right? So, make sure that you go through your final walkthrough and make sure that your property is the way that you saw it when you did that inspection, okay? So you go to your closing, you wrap up, you sign all the documents, and then you've purchased your first house, okay? And guys, this is just the beginning. This is just the first house, the first closing. I know it's going to be exciting for you guys, but it's just the beginning. So the next part that you have to do is you have to do maintenance. You have to maintain the property. Maintenance. You have to maintain the property, guys. So that means maybe hiring a property manager or manage. For us, we manage our properties ourselves, right? Managing a property is very important. Maintenance and management. So if your property is not rented out, you have to use, or this is what we use. I'm not going to say you have to use it, but use Zillow Rental Manager. Use Zillow Rental Manager, where you can put your rentals on Zillow, right? And when you put it on Zillow, it also puts it on two other sites. Use Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace. Turbo Tenant. Zillow Rental, Facebook Marketplace, Turbo Tenant. Um, there's others out there too, but these are the three main ones that we use. Okay. And you want this is another important part of real estate investing. One of the most important parts is managing it and bringing the right people in. So your job is not done once you purchase your property because it's ongoing maintenance. And also when people want to move out or when people move out, you have to get it fixed up again. You have to paint again. You have to maybe do the floors again. You maybe have to put some other appliances in, things like that. So it's important to understand management, understand how much money's coming in as cash flow. You want to use some of that cash flow and put it away in savings so that when people move out, you have the money or resources to replenish and put someone else in there. Okay. Use these three here to to um to help you to get people into into your property. Okay. What you want to do when you're looking for um a qualified tenant, these are the steps that we do. We make sure that they have a 600, and this depends on the area that you're in, but we make sure that they have a 600 plus credit score. We make sure that they make 2.5 to 3 times the rent. This is important because if they don't make this much, they're going to have trouble trying to pay you for rent. And usually rental expenses is the last thing that comes out of anybody's expenses. They're going to care for their family first. They're going to care for food. They're going to care for their utility bills. And then the rent comes out for most people. Okay. So make sure they're making 2.5 to 3 times the rent. If they're not making this, guys, you're setting yourself up for failure. You really are because they're not going to be able to pay you. Okay. Another thing that we do, one important thing that not many people do is they ask for their last 3 payments to their current landlord. This is an indication of if they're paying their rent on time every month. You ask them for their last 3 payments to their current landlord. Their current landlord. This will show you, okay, they are paying their rent on time, and maybe the reason that they're moving is because they want a better space. But it shows you that they're paying their bills on time. Okay. You may ask for referrals if you want. You may ask for referrals, like, okay, let me get the phone number to your current landlord. Let me get the number to your current employer. You want to check them out and make sure that it's a good person coming in to rent your space. This is one of the most important parts of real estate investing is the management part. Because if you don't have people coming in with this criteria, you're setting yourself up. You're not going to be able to pay for your mortgage because they're not going to be paying you your rent. Okay. A lot of people skip this part. Okay. One main thing that we do is we actually go to visit where they're living. Ask them, hey, listen, and you can make it like a last minute thing, but go to visit to see where they're living. If they're living in a hood, if they're living in a decent area, and ask and bring your if you're really interested in bringing them in, bring the documents, the like the tenant lease agreement. Bring it over to them. Bring it to their house, right? And say, "Hey, listen, can I come in? Can I view where you're staying at? Um, we really we really want we really want you as a tenant, but I just want to, finalize things and sign the lease agreement." And if you go in their property and you see that it's a mess, it's terrible, they're not taking care of the property, that means what they do here is what they're going to do to your property, right? So you turn around and you leave and you say, "Hey, listen, I think that we may go a different direction, or we have we have other prospective tenants that we have to visit also. Okay? But don't bring in anybody that's messy, because if you do, you're going to have a mess in your property. That's going to cause rodents to come in. That's going to cause your property value to decrease. If you ever want to sell it and they're a mess, you're never going to get it sold because it's messy. Okay, and that's another indication that they're probably not going to pay you your rent on time. Usually, um, like, you want to bring in clean tenants. Okay, um, I think that's majority of the things that we do when it comes to managing, and bringing people in. Um, Make sure that you save and you're having some funds for any mechanical issues. Like, during our, what is it, 7 years of investing in multifamily, we've had a lot of things go wrong. Things are gonna break. Like, don't get into real estate thinking that nothing's gonna break, you're not gonna have any issues, you're just gonna be collecting money. That's not the deal. The deal is to take care and serve the tenants that you have. Serve them the best that you can. Give them what they need, and always respond to the maintenance issues that they are having, because that's going to keep your income coming in. The more service that you give to them, the less problems you're going to have when it comes to collecting rent. Okay, we've had issues where furnaces have broken, was $5,000-$6,000 out of the savings account to go towards to get a new one. Right. We've had leaks in the basement. We've had issues with pipes. These major things, they cost thousands of dollars to fix. So, say, let's go back to that 1,600 per month, right? 1,600, and you're living in it for free. Living living free. Okay? That $200 that you're making, make sure that you're saving it. Don't take this cash flow and just go out and spend it. Put it in an account where it can grow, so that when your maintenance issue comes, you can pay for it. And also, when you're on your first property, guys, don't go out and start buying liabilities. The whole point of this is to keep growing, is to keep getting into more assets, right? If you're living free for if you're living free now, if you keep reinvesting, you're gonna be living more freer. Okay? Wait until you get 4 or 5 years in the game, and then go buy your luxury items. Let your assets pay for your liabilities. Okay? So you're gonna have some maintenance issues. It comes with old buildings. Unless you get into new development, then you're not gonna have that problem as much. But if you're getting into these older buildings in Philadelphia, upstate New York, you know, different areas around the country, these houses are 100 plus years old. So you're going to have maintenance issues that you have to fix up. Okay. If you're living for free, take some of your money that you're getting out of your pocket. I mean, every 2 weeks that you're getting from your job, and put some into the savings account. Keep putting it into the savings account and growing it. Because when this grows, right, and your appreciation from your property grows. Say you bought it for 300K, a year later it's worth 375K. This money that you have in your savings, say you have about 4K, 4K saved up, plus you have your 75K from your equity, right? You can use this equity and this 4K, or part of the 4K, and you can purchase another multifamily. So the FHA loan, guys, you can use this every couple years, and you have different circumstances. Maybe your family grew. Maybe this is a 2 bedroom. You need a 3 bedroom now. You can use the FHA loan again, and you can repeat the process. Put down 3.5%, 3.5K, or you can do a conventional loan, which is 5K, and you can purchase another property for 300K. Use the same money, use the equity from your property, go to closing on another property. Okay. And this is how you get out of the rat race. If you want to get out of the rat race, you duplicate this process. You keep doing it over and over again. Okay. I would say don't deviate from this. If this is working for you, keep repeating the process because you're just building up your assets, building up your assets. And then, like I said, once you get to like 5 years and you have like, 3, 4, 5, 6 properties, multiple units, now your assets go over your liabilities. This means all of the income that's coming in from your assets can pay for these liabilities. When you're first starting out and you have your job, you have your income coming in from your first property, keep keep riding in that Honda Accord. Keep riding it until the wheels fall off, and keep reinvesting your money into assets, guys, because these assets are going to cover all your liability. You see, real estate is the type of game where, like, if you're gonna become you're gonna become a millionaire, but it takes time to do it, right? It takes time to keep building your assets. So you have to have patience. It may take 5 years, it may take 6 years, it could take 3 years to do it, right? But you have to buckle down and invest in assets. This will pay for your liabilities. If you're always paying for liabilities, and you never purchase assets, by the time you're 65 years old, I guarantee you that you're going to still be paying for liabilities. You're still going to have a job and you're going to have to continue to work until you're 75, and you can't relax. So this is important. And get into assets, guys. Get into these houses, because think about it. If you say you have 1600 coming in, 1600 coming in, and then another 1600 coming in, and then you go and you move to another house, and you duplicate this, and you have another 1600, 1600, and then for free. You're living for free. You just increase your income by $2,000 by purchasing your second multifamily, because you move from number 3, this apartment, you move to your second house. So you have another 1600 coming in. You have that $200 coming in. That's 1800. And then maybe you had an increase from your job. You got increased maybe, a couple percentage. So you're making a couple $100 more. So right now you got 2 houses and you're making $1,800 a month. You repeat the same process, you're making you double that. You're making $4,000 a month. 3 houses, 4,000. Another house, almost 6,000 a month. Okay, that's why at the third or the fourth house, by the time you have those houses, your assets should be covering you. You shouldn't have to work anymore if you don't want to. If this is what you love to do, you can expand. You can scale up even more. If this is not what you like to do, you can stay at 4 properties or 3 properties. And then another thing, guys, this is another thing, and this is the last thing that I'm going to go over. Say you've held these houses for, say, 10 years, 7 years, 10 years, right? All of your properties have appreciated to, let's say, 500K, right? So you have 4 properties at 500K. That's $2 million. You're a million. You're on paper, you're a millionaire. Okay, it doesn't take that many. So say you have 4 properties at 500K. What you can do is you can sell off two or 3 of the properties, and you can pay for the mortgages for your other property, and then that property will be free and clear. And instead of having to pay a mortgage on it, you'll be at 1600, and maybe you're living in another house or something, 1600. So that 4800 is coming into your pocket, going straight at 5,000, almost $5,000 per month. Your house is free and clear, and you have no mortgage. This is the real estate game, guys. And this is how you get ahead without having to spend a ton of money. Always, always, always FHA loans, conventional loans, um, little down payments. If you're putting in 20% on a property, you're not investing in property correctly. Honestly, you're not. You're putting in so much. You have to come to the table with hundreds of thousands of dollars. Do the FHA and repeat the process, guys. I hope that you guys have learned a lot here when it comes to investing in your multifamily property. Um, I'm here if you guys want to DM me, if you want to message me, if you want to say, Leon, I'm ready to start investing. And then I can help you with this process. I can help you along the way. I have mentors. I have mentees that I've helped to purchase multifamily property, multiple multifamily properties. Okay. And you guys could do the same thing too. Like I said, this is not rocket science, guys. It really isn't. It's just a matter of buckling down, understanding math a little bit of, math, adding, subtraction, and just having patience. Over the years, you will become a millionaire through real estate. Real estate is the number one you have the number one chance, and you're almost guaranteed to become a millionaire through real estate investing, whether it's development, whether it's just multifamily, just buying multifamilies every day. I mean, not every day, like every year. Um, that is the way to get out of the rat race and to become a multimillionaire. Okay, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me. Feel free to message me. There should be no more excuses, guys. No more excuses why you guys can't do this. Someone making 30K per year or 40K per year can do this same process. And in 5, 6 years, they can be out of their job if they want to. Okay. And they can be pursuing things that they love to do. Okay. Mr. Real Estate here signing out. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have a happy holiday. Like I said before, this is a substitute for the live tonight. We're not doing a live because I'm going to be traveling to New York. So this is going to be in place of it. But I hope that you guys have learned and follow these steps in order to purchase your multifamily property. If you have to go over this video again and again, write it down, go step by step. And if you have any questions along the way, DM me, message me, text me. I'll be more than glad to help you guys out. Okay? Mr. Real Estate here signing out. God bless you guys. Happy holidays. Later.